hands in, please. Okay, we may be seated. Thank you. Let's have our seats. Good morning, everyone. Distinguished Nihort family, it is my honor to welcome each and everyone to yet another seminar series. And today we'll be having seminar series on building an inclusive and equitable Nihort through gender mainstreaming strategies. Ladies and gentlemen, looking at us as the moderators of the program, you can see that we are trying to be gender balanced. Of course, it is because of the sensitivity of the seminar today that we have to include this, and I hope that it continues like that in other seminars that we'll be having in the Institute. Ladies and gentlemen, we would go straight to the introduction of members of IMC, starting from the Chief of Temple, the Executive Director himself.
All right, good morning, everyone. My name is Odenka Bukola Esther, and you're welcome. We are privileged to have in our midst this morning the ED representative, Dr. H.A. Akintoye. The ED, sir, please come to the high table. We can do better with our clappings. Also, we have the privilege to have in our midst this morning Director of Research, who doubles as the chairperson of today's seminar, Dr. O.O. Oyedele. Also join me to welcome Director of Research, Dr. O.D. Ojo. We also have Dr. O. Adebisi Adelani. We also have Dr. O.A. Oke, Director of Research, HOD Citrus and Product Development. We also have Dr. I.B. Adeoye, Director of Research. We have Dr. F.B. Olajide Taiwo, Director of Research and HOD Farming System and Extension. And we have the presenter of today's seminar series here with us, Dr. M.A. Badmos, Director of Research and HOP Farming System. Just then we have Director of Research, the HOD Vegetables and Floriculture, Dr. O.O. We have Director of Research, Dr. A.G. Adebayo. We have Director of Research, Dr. O.O. Olufumi. We have Assistant Director, Head of Finance and Accounts, Mrs. V.A. Adedipe. We also have Director of Research, Dr. Chief Research Officer and Acting Head, Information and Documentation, Dr. M.T. Oladunjoye. You're welcome.
Thank you very much. Chairman the seminar series today is Dr. O.O. Oyedele. And we have a presenter, even though my colleague has introduced her, Dr. M.A. Badmos. To read the citation of the presenter is Dr. Bola Ibe. And the rapporteur of today is Mr. Ogunbosoye Tolulope. Now we'll hand over the mic to the Executive Director for his remarks. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. You are welcome to this seminar series to be delivered by Dr. Badmos. and it's on gender mainstreaming. Dr. Badmus, come and sit beside us before the MC will order you to come to the floor for the presentation. So, thank you very much. MC.
Yeah, thank you very much, Idisa. Now the chairman has the mic. Thank you.
Yeah, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, well, we thank God for that prompt arrest of the likely issue, and we'll continue right on with the program. I said good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning. That good morning is as cold as the weather. So, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning. Okay, we're in for another round of the seminar, and before we continue, I'd like to recognize the presence of the Chairman RRPC who is stepped in as we're starting off, Dr. Oya Adetula. Now you're welcome. Now, I don't have much to say because the presenter has made her slides ready, and I don't want to preempt whatever she's going to say. But I will just hand over for now for her to be called up for her citation, and then we start the seminar in earnest. But I'm sure by the end of today's seminar, you would have been better enlightened and informed to know the differences between certain keywords that we normally use, but which we are mixing up the meaning. And I don't want to start listing them. I'm sure she will give us this to that. So please, the MC, can you bring her up for her citation? Thank you all.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Now I will call on Dr. Ibe to come and read the citation of the presenter.
Good morning, everybody. Are we cold? Good morning, everybody. Yes. I'll crave the indulgence of the presenter to please step forward as I take the citation. Thank you, ma'am. It is a distinct honor and privilege to present Dr. Badmus Musliha Adepeju, an accomplished agricultural economist, distinguished researcher, gender specialist. I thought you'd be jamming your hands together. Academic and development practitioner whose career has been devoted to advancing agricultural transformation, gender-responsive research, rural development, and evidence-based policy formulation in Nigeria and beyond. Dr. Badmus obtained her Bachelor of Science, BSc, MSc, and PhD in Agricultural Economics from the Premier University, that's the University of Ibadan. Thank you for that. Great UI. It's not strong enough. Great UI. And one of Africa's foremost institutions of higher learning. Our academic journey, culminating in a doctoral study on child labor among rural farming households laid a solid foundation for a professional career dedicated to agricultural economics, rural livelihoods, food security, labor studies, gender equity, and sustainable development. Her professional career reflects remarkable growth, distinguished leadership, and unwavering commitment to national development. She began her career as a graduate assistant in the Department of Agricultural Economics, University of Ibadan. That was between 1996 and 1998, where she developed her passion for research and academic excellence. She subsequently served as a project facilitator with the National Farmer Development Project between 2004 and 2008, contributing significantly to the implementation of community-driven agricultural development initiatives aimed at reducing rural poverty and improving farmers' livelihoods. During the 2006-2007 National Population and Agricultural Surveys, she also served as an enumerator field officer with the National Bureau of Statistics, gaining practical experience in large-scale socioeconomic data collection and analysis. I hope we are not sleeping. I can't hear us clapping. Dr. Badmus joined the National Horticultural Research Institute, Ibadan, where she has built an outstanding career spanning research, institutional management, and scientific leadership. That was in 2009. She served as the head of the Planning, Monitoring, and Evaluation Department from 2009 to 2015. I hope you will clap. Providing strategic oversight for institutional planning, monitoring, evaluation, and performance management. She later became the head of the Farming Systems and Extension Research Program in 2021 to present, leading multidisciplinary research aimed at improving horticultural production systems, technology dissemination, socioeconomic impact assessment, and farmer adoption of innovations. In recognition of her exceptional leadership, she was appointed Director of Research in 2024 till date. Thank you. Where she provides strategic direction for the Institute's research agenda, research quality assurance, innovation management, and institutional partnerships. She also serves as the gender focal person from 2024 till date, championing the institutionalization of gender-responsive research, policy development, and inclusive organizational practices. Beyond Nihort, Dr. Badmus has made significant contributions to national development through public service and consultancy. She served as Gender and Vulnerable Groups Specialist with the National Social Safety Net Coordinating Office, NASCO, Office of the Presidency from 2019 to 2021, where she supported the integration of gender and social inclusion into Nigeria's flagship social protection programs. As an independent consultant and gender-based violence specialist, she has provided technical support on gender mainstreaming, social safeguards, and gender-based violence risk mitigation for development projects financed by government and international development partners. She also served as an adjunct lecturer at the University of Abuja between 2024 and 2025. Yes, thank you. Mentoring postgraduate students and teaching courses in agricultural economics, gender economics, human capital development, agricultural policy, project appraisal, and environmental policies. Not easy. Over more than 2 decades of professional practice, Dr. Badmus has developed an exceptional reputation in agricultural economics, gender and development, let's have those hands, socioeconomic research, project planning, monitoring and evaluation, participatory rural development, value chain analysis, climate smart agriculture, food security, agricultural commercialization, and institutional policy development. She possesses extensive experience in initiating, coordinating, and implementing multidisciplinary research programs that address complex development challenges. Her technical competencies include the application of community-driven development, CDD, approaches for poverty reduction and food security, the use of participatory learning and action, PLA, methodologies in development programming, project design, implementation, monitoring and evaluation, development of gender-sensitive policies and strategies for economic development, identification and mitigation of gender-based violence, risk in investment projects, provision of preliminary psychological support and referral services for GBV, that's gender-based violence survivors, and the promotion of social inclusion across agricultural and rural development initiatives. As respected scholar, Dr. Badmos has consistently translated research into policy and practice through evidence-based recommendations that strengthen agricultural productivity. Yes, thank you. Keep those hands going. Improve rural livelihoods and promote inclusive development. Her research interests encompass gender-responsive agricultural innovation, horticultural value chains, climate change adaptation, technology adoption, financial inclusion, market participation, child labor, rural development, agricultural commercialization, and food system transformation. Her scholarly productivity is outstanding. She has authored and co-authored more than 50 peer-reviewed journal articles, conference papers, book chapters, technical reports, and scholarly publications, making significant contributions to agricultural economics, horticultural science, gender studies, agricultural policy, and rural development. Her recent work focuses on gender mainstreaming in agricultural research, technology adoption, horticultural value chains, food security, climate resilience, and institutional transformation. Dr. Badmos has also served on numerous multidisciplinary research teams and nationally and internationally funded projects involving organizations such as the Agricultural Research Council of Nigeria, the Food and Agriculture Organization, FAO, CORAF/WICAD, the African Union, and the several international development partners. She has functioned variously as lead socioeconomist, gender specialist, monitoring and evaluation expert, policy analyst, and research coordinator, contributing to projects on horticultural value chains, climate smart agriculture, food systems resilience, agricultural innovation, and institutional gender mainstreaming. Thank you very much. Her professional excellence extends beyond research. She possesses strong analytical and problem-solving abilities, excellent quantitative and qualitative data collection skills, exceptional report writing and communication skills, proficiency in Microsoft Office applications, proven leadership and organizational abilities, and a demonstrated capacity to coordinate multidisciplinary and multi-institutional teams while consistently delivering high-quality outputs with stipulated timelines. Dr. Badmos is an active member of several professional bodies, including the Nigerian Association of Agricultural Economics, NAAE, the Agricultural Extension and Research Work, AGREN, let's have those hands, and the Horticultural Society of Nigeria, HOTSI. She has attended and presented papers at numerous international conferences, workshops, and professional development programs across Kenya, Ghana, Benin Republic, Mali, Senegal, Sweden, and several other countries, while participating extensively in research, in scientific conferences and policy dialogues across Nigeria. Outside her professional engagements, Dr. Badmus enjoys traveling, writing, and meeting people. She has traveled extensively across more than 25 states of Nigeria and 8 countries, experiences that have enriched her understanding of diverse agricultural systems, cultures, and development contexts. She's happily married, let's clap now, and blessed with children, balancing an accomplished professional career with a fulfilling family life. Today, thank you. Today, we celebrate a woman of vision, let's have the hands, scholarship, integrity, and exceptional leadership. A researcher whose work has advanced agricultural science, strengthened institutional capacity, promoted gender equality, and influenced policies that improve the lives of farmers and vulnerable populations. Through our unwavering dedication to excellence, innovation, mentorship, and public service, Dr. Badmus Musliha Adepeju continues to shape the future of agricultural research and inclusive development in Nigeria and across Africa. Ladies and gentlemen, it is with great pride and profound respect that I present to you an outstanding scholar, distinguished research administrator, accomplished gender specialist, mentor, and champion of sustainable agricultural development, Dr. Badmus Musliha Adepeju. Happy listening.
Thank you very much, Dr. Bola Ibe. I've always been saying it that each and every time we have people coming to make presentation, we have always been having intimidating series. I hope that for those of us that are coming behind you, we'll be able to meet up as well. And I quickly want to say that the intimidation from people that went to the UI is becoming too much. So for as many of us that went to other schools, anytime they are here, please blow the trumpet. We'll join. At least it will be UI against others. At least we'll be able to balance on. Thank you very much. Now, Madam Chairman, please you have the mic. Thank you.
He also went to UI now. And he is still in UI now. Ilorin is an extension of UI. Is it? Am I right? They are both, see now, the first vice chancellor of the University of Ilorin is a professor of, so, see, no problem. Don't feel intimidated. There's nothing you can do about firstborn. Am I right? Yes. Sorry. Okay. Well, we also have beautiful and hardworking other institutions. So, yeah, we go ahead with the seminar. The title is already projected on the screen. Please do us the favor of putting all our phones in vibration. If anyone rings out like that, you will do me well to submit it on this table, and you will collect it next week, Monday. Is that fine? Yes. Do we agree to that? Yes. I hope nobody's phone rings. Okay, so Dr. Badmus, you have it. Please, can we applaud her?
Very good morning to the Executive Director, Professor Emela. I'm Director of Research, Dr. Akintoye, all IMC members here present, all Nihort stuff, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for this opportunity to be able to do this presentation. Kolarok visual is sort why we're still hammering. Why the instead they've called. What that means is not a magical incantation. I'll just say the meaning. I'm just calling on Almighty God to help in this presentation, as he's the only one that can help whenever you're doing anything at all. So as the title says, we want to talk about building an exclusive and equitable Nihort through gender mainstreaming strategies. This presentation is going to be in 5 slides, 5 chapters, and we have about 39 slides. But I just want to give a quick run through. Oh, sorry, please, before I start this presentation, there is a Google form that we are supposed to fill to actually see where we are as far as gender, understanding of some gender issue is concerned, and where we will be at the end of the presentation. That Google link has been sent to the Nihort website. Please do well to fill this Google. It's just about 20 questions to fill this Google form, and also do same after the presentation. Thank you. We are a research institute, and when we are doing anything like this, we should be able to put some elements of research into it to be able to judge whether people are actually getting something or not. And for those who do not have access to smartphones, we have a few copies, hard copies, that have been printed out. And please, Mr. Lukman, perhaps you can help coordinate the sharing of this. Thank you so much. Yes, our journey. This is not the first time we'll be talking about gender issue as far as Nihort is concerned. So we are presenting this to tell us how far we have gone. And like I said, we are going to be looking at this, using these 5 chapters. We will want to refresh our minds about some basic gender concepts. Let's be on the same page, some fundamental concepts. And then we'll move on to discuss about gender mainstreaming. Then we'll talk about the strategic direction that we are trying to follow in terms of our mission and the vision of the Gender Mainstreaming Office. Chapter 4 will dwell much on implementation and accountability, while Chapter 5 will talk about the milestones that have been achieved so far, and of course, what are the things we are looking forward to achieving going forward. That is, what is our collective responsibility as staff of National Horticultural Research Institute. Yes, I said chapter 1 is just basically about gender, definition, concept, and why does it even matter? Why must we discuss this gender thing? Sex versus gender. As the chair rightly said, a lot of misconceptions still abound about what is sex and what is gender. Whenever people talk about sex, please know that it is talking specifically about a biological and physiological makeup of being a man and woman. XX chromosome for the woman, XY for the man. Gender is generally fixed at birth. It does not change. Please ignore the bisexual, homosexual. Those things are not, they're not in operation here. And then for this context, I will be using interchangeably the word gender and sex just for the purposes of presentation, but I just need to make a distinction here. Whereas if we talk about gender, gender is socially and culturally determined. It is not about your physical makeup, whether you're a man or woman. It is shaped most of the time by culture, sometimes by religion, and even politics. So basically, gender is different from sex. Sex is biological, gender is cultural. Gender changes with time and space. Women traditionally cared for pregnant women and child delivery in Africa. This is just an example. Those days, when you come to delivery, you find the women there. But these days, you have obstetricians and gynecologists taking delivery of pregnant women. Most of them are even men. So these are gender issues. Nursing was dominated by women in the past, but nowadays, you have a lot of men in the nursing profession. These are gender issues. So basically, the point we are making here is that gender issues are not women issues. Please. People wrongly equate gender with women, and this misconception actually undermines mainstreaming gender in issues, because we want to talk about gender mainstreaming, and so if we are not on this same page of understanding, it may actually hamper our understanding. Now, let's talk about gender issues. A concrete example. If you are in a shopping mall or the airport and you have 3 toilets, maybe 2 male, they mark the toilet male, female. You have more than a lot of, look at the number of women queuing up to use the toilet compared to men. Even within Nihort, we have equal number of toilets for men and women. Should this be so? Should there be a moderation? These are some of the issues. So when you are talking about equal numbers, they do not actually result into equal outcomes. Women often face longer wait times due to biological, social, and time-related differences. And so it is important to look at gender issues beyond numbers if we actually want to have sustainable development. We also talk about gender stereotypes. These are generalized views or perceptions about attributes, characteristics that are expected of you being a man or a woman. It's essentially a belief, and this belief can actually lead a person holding certain assumptions about men and women. Stereotypes also shapes how we behave, how resources are shared, how opportunities are distributed in agriculture, in horticulture, since we are in horticulture. For example, if you assume that women handle only domestic farming tasks, while the men should handle any task outside of the home, is an example of, a gender stereotyping. If you look at that picture there, a woman and a man, they are trying to climb a ladder. What we are saying is that stereotyping is actually the foundation of unequal ladders that we see. And this also translates into career advancement, resource access, as well as decision making. Now, talking about gender roles, gender relations, gender norms. When you are talking about gender roles, you mean the attributes and the responsibility associated with being a man or a woman. Responsibilities, gender roles. Expectations, gender roles. When you are talking about gender relation, it could either be in the workplace, it could be in the family, or other public sphere. And what this actually talks about is how are you expected to behave as a man or woman in an office place, for example. How are you expected to relate with the opposite sex? Now, the norms are the standards and expectations to which gender identity generally conforms with the society. This is how we do it here. Those are norms. Like I make an example, we are not into gender, bisexual, and all this gay stuff. That is the norm. This is the way we do it here, contextualizing it. So if we want to make a distinction between gender roles and norms, for example, we see that caring for the family, is it a norm or a role? Is it a norm? If it's a norm, can we have our hand? Is a role. Household expenses and paying. Is it a gender role or a norm? Is it a norm or a role? Okay. Decision on children's education. Is it a norm or a role? Attendance at community meetings. We all have our answers. This is just to let us know that we have a lot of things going when it comes to gender issues. Now, what about gender blindness? When we say somebody is gender blind, what do we mean? It actually refers to actions or policies carried out on the assumptions that they do not target men or women. They just carry them out. You don't really care whether it's a man or a woman. They are just meant for everybody, irrespective of what the sex of the person is. When you do such a thing, you are said to be gender blind. Most gender blind policies favor men disproportionately because they are designed around male default assumption. I know this is going to be debated. You also have patriarchal persistence. In patriarchal society, men dominate decision-making with little or no concern about gender issues, creating the conditions for gender-blind policies. For example, we talked about maybe making decisions about the education of a child. The man can just decide, I want my children to go to this school. And just tells the woman like that. Not caring whether she has 1 or 2 reservations. So why don't we look at this anymore? That's the decision and that is final. That's just a typical example. Then when we talk about gender inclusion, what do we mean? Unlike gender blindness, gender inclusion is saying give men and women equal opportunity to participate in any decision making, in any activity in a given society. Give them access, give them opportunity to participate, because when you have equal access for both men and women, and you have equal decision making, you are going to have an outcome that will lead to sustainable and inclusive development. Talking horticulture, we are going to have better decisions for the system. This one I'm sure we have heard it sometimes. Gender inequality. This occurs when rights, resources, and opportunities are unequally distributed among male and female boys and girls. This imbalance is rooted in long-standing social norms and power structures. These are not things that started now. They've been here long ago. So gender inequality intensifies difficulties faced by marginalized groups. You see, why people talk about, when we are talking about gender issue and people seem to believe it's a woman thing, it's because there's been a long-term imbalance. The woman has been down there for a very long time. And so when you're talking about, doing a balance thing, it looks as if you're talking about women empowerment. Now, these terms are very critical for us. Gender equality, gender equity, gender justice. And it's important for us to have these terms well understood. When we are talking about gender equality, we are talking about equal rights, equal responsibilities, equal opportunity to both man and woman. Everyone deserves the same chance to succeed, be equal. If you talk about gender equity, you are saying recognize that people have different needs. And for you to be fair, treat people according to their needs. If you don't want to continue to perpetuate inequality, treat people according to their needs. So that's a step higher than gender equality that we have been talking about. Now about gender justice. When we are talking about gender justice, we are saying let's correct these historical imbalances that have been here for so long a time. Historical imbalances, when they are corrected, it will give everybody opportunity. So what we are saying is that justice looks beyond equal treatment to fasting, lasting, outcomes. So gender justice is actually where we should be aiming to be. This is a pictorial representation of what I just explained. If you are talking about equality, you assume that everybody is on the same level and everybody should be equal. Equal number of men, equal number of women, equal opportunity and things like that. Equal treatment. So you see that small boy there, he wants to watch the football match. The young girl too wants to watch, and of course the man. But they don't have the same height. So when you are preaching gender equality, you want to give all of them one stool to stand on. If you do that, you see that you have still not solved the problem, because that boy still cannot see that build, and the girl can just barely see, while the man, of course, can see very well. When you are talking about equity, you are saying just give everybody the support that they need. Don't give them more than that. This equity is what the Muslim brothers usually practice with the Muslim sisters, or maybe they should practice. If you have 2, 3, 4 wives, give them according to their needs. I'm sure they are happy. If one needs a car, give her a car. If one needs 2 cars, give her 2 cars. Yeah. So when you're talking about equity, everybody gets the support that they need. This, of course, is the concept of the affirmative action. But when you're talking about justice, and this is what the ideal is, we are saying remove that barrier that is actually causing these people not to see what they want to see. It's not causing them to watch the match. If you look at it, the cause of the inequality has been addressed. That wall is being replaced with a net so everybody can see through. And in that case, you don't even need any support. You don't need to put any table there. You don't even need to put 1, 2, 3 tables according to the height of those people. Because you have actually addressed the cause of inequality. And this is what we are saying. That if you really want to have a working system, try to address what is the cause of inequality. And as much as possible, if you cannot eradicate, please reduce to the barest minimum and we'll have a working system. Yes, that is just talking about trying to bring us up to the same level about what gender is all about. Then when we are talking about gender mainstreaming, what do we mean by gender mainstreaming? And why does it matter? Why must we mainstream gender? We say here that mainstreaming is the process of integrating gender perspective into preparation, design, implementation, monitoring and evaluation of all our policies, all our programs, because we want to address gender inequalities. You mainstream gender across board. You make sure that all men, women, all groups, vulnerable groups, they all benefit equally. What we are saying in essence is that because we are not mainstreaming gender yet, we have to have a mindset of a change. So gender mainstreaming requires a change of attitude, change of our relations. We talk about gender relations, relationships, situations, legal framework, our decision-making structures, and so on and so forth. It is not a single intervention that we can do just in a workshop like this. It is a systemic transformation that touches every level of how Nihort operates as an institution. For Nihort, what gender mainstreaming means is that we need to examine our research protocols, our deployment policies, our government structure through a gender lens. We cannot afford to be gender blind. So again, why are we talking about gender mainstreaming? Are we doing something extraordinarily? May I tell us, as some of us may know, that Nigeria is a signatory to many global conventions. And so, when we are talking about mainstreaming gender, we are not doing something out of the ordinary. We are only aligning with international frameworks, and we should align with international frameworks. It's a global world, we should be part of it. Gender mainstreaming in SDG 5 says we should achieve gender equality and empower all women and girls globally. Gender analysis in research, design, and sex-aggregated data as posited by the Food and Agricultural Organization. And of course, the African Union Agenda 2063. They also have a vision of gender equality and inclusive development. Gender equality and inclusive development. So, talking about gender mainstreaming only shows that Nihort is aligning with international framework. Now let's come down to why we need to talk about gender mainstreaming, because we are a research institute. Why must we mainstream gender? The first one is that diverse perspectives help to enrich scientific inquiry and problem solving. When you have opinion from more than one person, good minds, two good minds, they say, is better than one. So you have your enrichment there. Resilience. When we mainstream gender into all aspects of institutional activities, we have resilience. The institute is strengthened and becomes more effective. Policy alignment, like I mentioned, we are a signatory to a lot of international framework, and even the Agricultural Council of Nigeria, the body that we report to, also demanded as one of our activities that we mainstream gender in our research activities. Talent. When you are talking about gender mainstream, you are not biased about talent. You nurture talent, irrespective of whether the person is a male or a female. You see a talent in someone, and you look beyond. This one is a female, what does she have to offer? These are some of the reasons why we are talking about mainstreaming gender, and a lot of other benefits. For Nihort, for example, we have a stronger and more diverse research outcomes, improved institutional effectiveness, like I mentioned earlier, better talent attraction and retention, enhanced stakeholder trust and credibility. You have a lot of innovation through this. Other stakeholders, to staff and other stakeholders, we have equal career advancement for everyone. Nobody is looking at you whether you're a man or a woman. You need a career advancement, you are given. Safe, respectful work environment. You don't feel intimidated in your work environment. There's a work-life balance support policy. Increased job satisfaction and loyalty. When a staff has happiness, has joy, it improves the person's productivity. For women farmers, they also have the opportunity of being taken along because they have access to innovation. Let's pause here to look about, we have been talking about the global picture. Let's come down to see what is happening in Nihort that we are talking about. What's the Nihort gender landscape like? What's the real picture? Look at this pictorial representation. The institute-wide representation shows that all staff of Nihort, this is hypothetical. The number could change anytime. But as at this morning, the total staff we have is 888. The percentage of men to women is as shown. For researchers, the number of male and female researchers is as shown. And for support staff as well. Do you notice a trend? Okay. Let's talk about researchers versus support staff. For researchers, we say there are 59%. They just wonder, are these, okay, this is just like the other one. Staff distribution by department. That's our distribution in the outstation, distribution in the admin, vegetable and floriculture department, that's our distribution, farming system and research program, that's our distribution, fruits and spices, citrus, the directorate, that's our distribution, finance and accounts, that's our distribution, information and documentation, that's the representation of male and female there. And of course, program, planning, monitoring, and evaluation. That's the representation. Then let's talk about even distribution within the research cadre. Look at research officer 1 and 2, senior research officer, principal, chief research officer, so even the distribution of our staff shows that over time, sorry about that. For the distribution across research cadre, please look at that bar chart. We see that at leadership peak, the mid-career deepens. At the directorate level, women hold 68% of the seat, and this is the stronger representation of any tier. Male representative dips sharply at chief research officer, 17%. At principal for female. At the entry level, research officer 1 and 2, women are 37% of staff. These figures do have implications, as we get to see. So the key takeaways, we are saying that 39% of all Nihort staff, home and abroad, 39% are women, the rest are men. We're saying that 41% of researchers are women. The larger ones are the male. At the directorate level, 68% are women. At chief research officer's post, 70% are actually women. This is a clear pipeline gap, research pipeline gap. So when we are talking about gender issues, we are not talking only about research alone. It's all encompassing. So what are these issues? What are the outstanding gender issues that we have now? Particularly in the outstation. We have an outstation dominated majorly by male, 76%. What is the implication of this? On the few occasions that we have had to go to the north for some, data collection, the men cannot access the houses of, the farmers. If they don't have a woman among them, they cannot do that. Perhaps if more women are employed in this outstation, maybe it can bridge this gap, just a suggestion. So we have a bias, a research bias. Sometimes when we are designing our researches, we tend to overlook women farmers' unique needs and perspectives. Never mind the repetition of the words there. It's a system error. We tend to overlook this. And that's why these days we are saying, let's research consider from the onset gender issues. Of course, budget gaps. there's no fun, there's nothing you can do. You can just be talking from now till the kingdom come, no matter how good your ideas are. Insufficient resources allocated to gender-specific initiatives and programs because it has never been there. So, these issues that we have been able to, just some of these issues that I've been able to highlight now. What are the vision and strategic directions that the Gender Mainstreaming Office is trying to follow to address this? We have a vision. The Gender Mainstreaming Office is an office that the Institute has created. Remember, I mentioned that this is not the first time we're going to have a seminar about gender. So the first one we had, we talked about the need to have a Gender Mainstreaming Office and justification for it. And the management graciously approved the establishment of a Gender Mainstreaming Office. And we do have one now. So the vision of this office is to create a gender-responsive institute where equal opportunities drive excellence in horticultural research. What is the mission? The mission is to integrate gender perspectives into horticultural research and extension, fostering inclusivity, innovation, and resource access for sustainable food security in Nigeria. That is the mission statement of this particular office. Now, we have a mission statement. What are the strategic objectives that were put in place to make sure that this dream, this vision, see the light of the day? One, leadership equity. We are saying let's sustain and strengthen gender equity in leadership, in recruitment, and in career projection. Let's have a gender-inclusive policy. Let's not be gender blind when we are doing all this. Let's advance gender-responsive research for food and nutrition security in all our research activities. Let's put gender into consideration. In terms of planning, and this goes to the people in planning, monitoring, and evaluation, let's try to know that gender mainstreaming is not something that should be an add-on, an attachment, an afterthought. Let's plan it from the beginning. Let's learn to remove the barriers. Remember the picture we showed about gender justice. Let's move beyond gender equity. Let's talk gender justice. Let's remove all those structural barriers that's limiting access of researchers, of NIOS staff, even non-researchers. Let's remove all those barriers that are limiting their access to resources and markets. Inclusive value chain. There's a need to strengthen inclusive participation in horticultural production and value chain so that everybody is carried on board. The principles, those are the strategies we talked about. What are the principles that are going to guide the workability of these strategies? One, equal rights and opportunity for all, like I've said, first principle. Second principle, participation and inclusion, meaningful participation of everybody that can contribute to anything on the table, either at the program or departmental level. Accountability and transparency. Let's leave clear rules. Let's give targets that are measurable. And the do no harm and respect principle is very important. Interventions need not to reinforce inequalities or to burden any group. What are the actions? Principles are different from actions. You could have principles, but what are the concrete actions that need to be in place for these principles to become operationalized? Gender analysis matrix. New proposals, we are saying that new proposals going forward should include a gender analysis matrix. Research and training, equal gender balance of participants in all research, and even training programs outside of research. female extension agents in the outstation. I mentioned this earlier. Perhaps we may need to, deploy more female extension so that they can reach, women farmers. Sex disaggregated data. This is particularly directed to the statistics unit. There's a need for us to have our data disaggregated by sex. It will ensure that we are actually making informed decisions from data, from statistics, and not just making, a blanket decision. Adapted materials. This one especially for the engineers, if you're coming up with any machine or, any innovation, please try to consider that the end user will either be a male or a female. For the breeders, if you are actually breeding for a particular variety, please know that the end users are human beings. We are supposed to promote food and nutrition security. It is human beings, male or female, whose food security needs to be enhanced. Please consider this. Gender impact assessment. When we are doing impact assessment, to how has our research, outcome, our research output, how have they impacted on the generality of the people? Let's consider the impact of gender, because, innovations, technology impact men and women differently. They impact men and women differently. It's another topic. So I've been talking about what gender mainstreaming is, what we need to know, and blah, blah, blah. Please note what gender mainstreaming is not. Gender mainstreaming is not about men and women. Please, if you had that mindset before now, please note that gender mainstreaming is not about men and women. It's about equity for everyone. Men, women, and all groups. Because everybody benefits in gender mainstreaming. Let's note that gender mainstreaming is not tokenism. We just don't want to add women's names to the list. Let's add them. These women, they talk a lot. They agitate in Beijing conference. Let's just add them. No. It's a systemic structural change that's going to transform how we work if we embrace it. Please, gender mainstreaming is not a one-time event like what we are having now. Let's come and talk about gender mainstreaming. It's not a one-time event. It's not a once-in-a-year workshop. It's about how we embed all these things in our everyday practice as part of our institution. Call it DNA, Nihort DNA, if you like. Gender mainstreaming, again, is not extra work. It's not extra work. It's not extra budget, please. For people in accounts, Madam Accountant, this one is for you. So what gender mainstreaming does is to integrate whatever we have been doing into existing systems. Research, budget, HR, extension. We are just saying that let's see how we can make these things work better than they are doing at present. Implementation and accountability. I will rush through this. These are our targets. Between 2026 and 2028, we have 5 targets. Annual gender audit, staff training, gender analysis matrix I mentioned. We need to have a gender scorecard, equity in leadership. These are the key targets that, this office hopes to be able to achieve. Now, let's talk about the milestones. How far have we come as far as gender mainstreaming issue is concerned? To momentum. Where are we presently? Now, we're not where we were before the talk about gender mainstreaming started. We now have in place, remember I said we had started this journey before now that led to the establishment of the gender mainstreaming office. So we have gender focal persons in each of the departments are now part of the team that are championing this change, championing this cause for gender mainstreaming. We have done a baseline audit, and we have also known the mindset of Nihort staff on the average about what gender is. Presently, we have developed a gender policy that is still, waiting approval of the management. This policy is one of the essential documents that should guide us as an institute. It's expected of any, organization. And so, I'm glad to let us know that the gender office is operational to guide and direct any issue as far as mainstreaming of gender activities in the institute is concerned. Those are the milestones that we have achieved. Now, as a way of conclusion, there's a need to synthesize our strategic imperatives. What do I mean? We're saying that Nihort's position, gender mainstreaming, that Nihort should position gender mainstreaming is very, very key. It is a non-negotiable strategic imperative. It's not a social thing, a social initiative. Based on what we have said over the course of these deliberations, there is an international framework, Nigeria is signatory to it, our parent body has mandated us to do it. And so it's very important for us to do this, because when we do this, it actually reflects that we are actually forward-thinking as an institute. We are in line with global happenings, and it will give us scientific excellence. We have also said that when we do this, we are going to be moving beyond gender-blind assumptions. We are a research institute. We should move beyond certain assumptions. Oh, this is the way, this thing should be, this is the way. Let's talk facts and figures. Research should actually consider the different roles, resource constraints of farmers, especially women. You know, most women, most horticultural farmers are women. A robust operational framework. This framework, we are saying, makes mandatory gender analysis whenever we want to write our proposal. Let's have a gender analysis matrix be part of the proposal document. Let's have targeted budget allocations addressing these issues. Institutional accountability by having a scorecard attached to this. Remember again, we said, we cannot overemphasize this, that this, what we are saying, is not something extraordinary. It's the way to go. It's the way the world is. Again, we are talking about measurable operational reality. The anticipated outcomes. If we do this, and we do it rightly, what are we going to gain? It's going to enhance our research validity, improve our outreach to underserved communities especially, and of course it's going to give us a stronger institutional equity. This will boost scientific creditability and tangibly contribute to Nigeria's food security that we are all out to do. May I say again that a gender-responsive Nihort is not built by one person or just by this office, this tiny office we have been talking about. It's not going to be built by gender mainstreaming office, but rather it's going to be built by all of us, all staff, every researcher, every administrator, every field overseer, everybody are needed, so that we choose equity over equality. So we are charging us to please integrate gender into our work today at all levels. Try to please know your gender focal persons. I mentioned that gender focal persons are in all departments and units. We even have people from admin, we have people in accounts, all over. So long as you are in Nihort staff and you belong to one department or one unit, you have your representative there. Please know your gender focal person. And let's try to champion inclusion as mentors, as allies, as advocates. Yeah. Thank you so much. As usual, I want to acknowledge the following people for the opportunity to stand here today. I think I want to start by first acknowledging God Almighty. Al-Mulgib wa Shahada wa Rahmanur Rahim. Wa Allahu alladhi la ilaha illa hu. Al-Malik al-Qudus, As-Salam al-Mu'min. Al-Muhammad al-Aziz al-Jabbar al-Mutakabbir. Subhanallah ya ma yushrikun. Wa Allahu al-Khaliq al-Bari al-Musawwir lahu al-Asma' al-Husna. Yusabbihu Allahu ma fi samawati wal ard. Wa huwa al-Aziz al-Hakim. If you want a translation of that, maybe later, because of time. So I'm just praising God. That's the summary. I want to also acknowledge and appreciate the Executive Director, Professor M.L. Atonda, ably represented by the chairperson, for the opportunity to do this. I'm not taking it for granted. I don't feel entitled. I want to thank the entire management team and my silent mentor, Professor Oyindele. Please, can we appreciate her? Yes, she gives me the nod in a quiet way. Hey, go ahead, you can do it. So I appreciate you, ma. I appreciate all IMC members for your support. The seminar committee, I also thank you for this opportunity. If I had not been slated, I wouldn't have the opportunity to come and talk. The gender team, can we please stand up? The gender team, please. Can we please stand up for recognition? Because this is just your work. I'm only speaking on your behalf. Please, let's all stand up. These are the wonderful people that have been working with the gender team across board. Thank you all so very much. I think I particularly want, you may be seated, I particularly want to thank Engineer Tolu Ogunbosoye. Please, can you stand up again? All these, if you consider these slides beautiful and worth it, those are, that's been done by him. I thank everybody for the opportunity. Thank you for listening to me. I hope you have been able to take one or two things from this. What that means is that at the end of all this talk, all praises return to God Almighty.
Thank you, Dr. Badmos, and that was beautiful. Can we please put our hands together again? Yeah, gender issues has actually always been controversial. And I'm sure that we have comments and questions that is running through our mind. But before that, I want to hand over to the chairperson of today's seminar for a comment, then to the Internal Management Committee. Thank you, ma'am. You can have the floor.
Can I crave the indulgence of the representative of the ED to say something? Right.
Sorry, madam, I thought you want to give an overview. Since she's...
Can you see now? Standing over to me. Okay, we will balance the gender. Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Badmos, for that insightful seminar. Please, can we appreciate her one more time? That's not loud enough. Please, I don't know if I can have somebody get to my office, get her a bottle of water. She's sweating. Water is available. Where's water? Please, can I have somebody others? Thank you. She's sweating. It's not easy to talk. It's not easy to talk gender issue, Abi. Okay. It's all right. She has taken us through quite a number of fundamental concepts about gender, and tried to also dissuade the issue of misconception when we're talking about gender, because once that word rings out, gender, the women. But I want to believe which job are we collecting? And that's the kind of a thing she's advocating, the seminar rather, is advocating that you resolve the issue of imbalance. Now she mentioned the distinction between sex and gender, and I do hope that this will be corrected when we fill certain forms. Most of the time, what you see there is gender. When we're talking about gender, you're talking about socially constructed roles that society has designed. Because you're a man, because you're a woman, this is what is expected of you. That's gender. But when you're talking about sex, it's talking about your biological makeup. What makes you who you are, the physiological aspect. So that we need to distinguish correctly. That's determined at birth. It doesn't change, except you want to change it, which also has its own backlash, as we have seen. Anyway, gender is not to be wrongly equated with women, and she also mentioned gender stereotypes. You know, people just look at you and say, no, because you are this is what it's supposed to be. That's a stereotype. And she mentioned the issue of gender blindness, applying policies without deep consideration of how the policies will impact on whether the person is a woman or a man, or a young female or young male. Now she has, the seminar also looked at gender inclusion, making sure that everybody, despite your race, color, whatever you stand, you know, to have equal access to benefits, not denial of benefits because you are either a male or a female. He spoke about gender justice and gender mainstreaming, which requires change of attitude, and also the fact that we need to align with international frameworks, and she mentioned quite a number of them, so that we can be on the same page with what is going on globally and not be left behind. She highlighted its benefits of gender mainstreaming, one of which I noted, work-life balance support policy. And I think as an institution, we need to work more on that to ensure that people are able to balance their lifestyle with the work demand. To put on some structures so that people can work at the same time your mind is settled, you are at work, but you are sure that your home is also settled. Let me give an example of that. I think there's an existing crèche here. So that gives the mother who is coming to work, you know, the freedom, the peace of mind. I'm working and my baby is safe there. Not that she's here and her mind is several kilometers outside here. And also a few other policies that will be addressed in the course of time. She's also mentioned imbalance in the outstation, and she gave us that data, and it's quite impressive to see what is existing on ground. And with that data, we see that the females are actually lower in terms of number of the percentage that we have represented in the institute. Vision statement for the gender mainstreaming office was also mentioned. The need to integrate gender into planning and also making of informed decisions from sex aggregated data. That is when you collect your data, make sure that we have both sides of the divide. And based on that, appropriate policies can be put in place. The highlights of the milestones, how far we have come, was also mentioned, as well as strategies for making sure that Nihort integrates gender, mainstream gender was also discussed. And lastly, looking at the data, flipping back to the data she displayed on the slides, it's interesting. 68%. Wow. In IMC, I think that is that's huge. Somebody is saying it's not balanced. But when it was ratio 4 or when it was ratio 5 to 1 or ratio 6 to let's start from history and we're moving on. Nobody complains. But now that it's tilting a bit, there is agitation. Can you see that there is no justice on this side? Okay. It's time now for questions. We have listened to her, but I want to